CreepyCorner stories.
Hey everyone, welcome back to CreepyCorner stories. You know, diving into the dark web is always risky, but sharing these stories with you makes it worth it. I'm curious, where are you watching this from right now? Let me know in the comments below. I noticed that these kind of stories hit differently depending on where you are. It might make the experience a little creepier. So tell me, are you watching from the safety of your home or somewhere less secure? I paid $100 to access a dark web archive of banned children's shows. I regret watching the first one. What's up, Reddit? Long-time lurker, first-time poster. I wasn't even sure where to put this, but r/no sleep felt right because, honestly, after what happened, I haven't slept. It's been 4 nights, and I'm starting to see things out of the corner of my eye that I know aren't there. Or maybe they are. Let me just get into it before I chicken out. So I'm not gonna lie, I've always had a fascination with the dark web. Not for anything illegal, obviously. I was just obsessed with the lore of it, you know? Like those creepypasta videos on YouTube. I ordered a mystery box, or I went on a Red Room site. That kind of stuff. I always figured 90% of it was fake. Just good storytelling and clickbait thumbnails. But about 2 weeks ago, I joined this Discord server run by this dude named X-Rabbit. Super sketchy username, I know. It was buried in some weird corner of a lost media subreddit where people were talking about creepy shows from the early 2000s that got taken off air. Someone dropped an invite link, no context. Of course I clicked. Inside, it was just like 40 people posting random screenshots of VHS tapes and talking about unaired pilot episodes. But then a channel popped up that wasn't there before, called The Archive. It was locked at first, but about 10 minutes later, one of the admins tagged me and said, "Hey, it's Static Dreams. You seem cool. Want to see something real?" Of course, I said yes. He told me to DM him on Telegram, so I did. The whole time, I'm thinking this is like an ARG or something. Maybe viral marketing for some horror project. I wasn't really scared yet, just hyped. He sends me this Onion link and a Bitcoin address. The message said, $100 unlocks access. One-time payment. No refunds. No reposting. Violators will be removed permanently. I should have backed out. Right there. But the thing is, I had $100 just sitting in my Coinbase account. And I was bored. Like stupid 2 a.m. bored. So I sent it. The Onion site loaded up into this pitch black homepage with this old school text, like 90s internet vibes. No logos, no branding, just the hollow archive, forgotten content for the forsaken. Underneath that was a list of files, just file names, no descriptions, no previews. The first one read, Mr. Bear's Cellar, original broadcast, CT13, 1999, and beside it, one view left. There were other files too, with titles like Juno's Dream, Unaired, Season 2, Finale, The Lost Episode of The Busy Bees, Do Not Watch Alone, Teletubbies, Signal Test Broadcast, Recovered Tape. But Mr. Bear's Cellar was the only one with a view left. I clicked play, and that's when everything started going to hell. The video was low res, like old Nickelodeon quality, CRT scan lines. The intro was this crappy stop-motion animation of a bear made from what looked like real fur. He walked stiffly into a tiny wooden door labeled Mr. Bear's Cellar. The audio was off. Not distorted, just wrong. The theme song was this lullaby-like tune with what sounded like children humming, but all out of sync, like they were trying to match a melody they couldn't hear. Then the door shut behind Mr. Bear, and it cut to static. When the show came back, it was a live-action segment. You know how some old kids shows had that awkward adult-in-a-costume energy? Yeah, this was like that, except the Mr. Bear suit looked gross, like it was covered in dirt and clumps of hair. The eyes were hollow black holes with glassy red dots in the center. He stood in this dimly lit room, like a basement with no windows, surrounded by kids. But the kids weren't moving. They just sat on the floor, cross-legged, completely silent. Mr. Bear said, in this muffled, almost gurgling voice, "Are you ready to play the Heidi game?" The camera zoomed in on one of the kids, a little girl with long, messy black hair. She didn't smile. She looked terrified, but she nodded. The lights flickered, and then the screen cut to black again. This time, a red progress bar appeared at the bottom. It wasn't buffering. It said, "Scouting phase, 13% complete." I paused the video. I don't know why. I just suddenly felt this chill down my spine, like I was being watched. My phone buzzed. Telegram. It was a new message from X-Rabbit. "Don't pause." He doesn't like that no emoji. No lol. Just that. I slammed my laptop shut. Guys, this is where it gets messed up. That same night, around 4 a.m., I got a Snapchat notification. Now, I don't give out my Snap like that, especially not to randoms, but the name was weird. Seller_guest_14. No mutuals, no Bitmoji, just a single photo. It was a grainy image of my apartment building, the exact angle from across the street, taken at night. My lights were on in the window. I haven't gone back on that site. I nuked the Discord, deleted Telegram, haven't opened Snapchat since, but stuff keeps happening. My Spotify randomly started playing that lullaby tune when I was driving. My smart TV turned on by itself yesterday morning and just displayed a black screen with the words, "Scouting phase complete." And now, every time I walk past a mirror at night, I swear I see a flash of fur in the reflection. Reddit. I know how this sounds, like some wannabe YouTuber Creepypasta thing. I wish it was that, but this was real. And I think something got out when I watched that file. Or maybe it scouted me. I haven't told my roommates yet. I've just been pretending everything's fine. But tonight, while typing this, I heard something crawl under my bed. I didn't look. I couldn't. I didn't sleep that night. I just sat in my computer chair with the lights on, legs up, eyes bouncing between the window and the hallway. The only sound was the cheap fan on my gaming PC and the occasional creak of the old floorboards. I live on the 3rd floor, but that didn't stop me from hearing what sounded like faint scratching inside the walls. I wish I could say that was the worst of it. The next day, I convinced myself I'd just had a bad night. Sleep deprivation, stress. Maybe I just watched something too real, and it messed with my head. You know that feeling when your brain refuses to believe something horrifying happened, just so you can keep functioning? That's where I was at. I even texted a friend of mine, someone I used to trade urban legends with in college. I sent her a screenshot of the Mr. Bear's cellar file from the dark web archive. She replied with a thumbs up emoji, followed by, "Dude, that can't be real. LMAO." A-O. So, I dropped it. Didn't mention the file. Didn't mention the image from outside my window. But then the real nightmare started. Friday night. I was sitting in a Starbucks in downtown LA, near the Wilshire district, just trying to get some editing done for a video. Music in my ears, iced Americano half empty, just grinding away. That's when I saw it again. The bear. Not the full suit. Not like in the video. Just a reflection in the glass. I was facing the window. It was dark out, streetlights behind me. But for a split second, the glass flickered, and I saw it. Standing behind me. No movement. Just watching. Its face was blanker than I remembered. Almost human, like skin had been stretched across the mask and stitched around the lips. There was moisture glistening in the fur, like it had just climbed out of something wet. I flinched and yanked my AirPods out. The seat behind me, empty. But the smell, God, the smell. It hit me all at once. Sour, rotting cotton, like wet carpet mixed with something feral. A girl 2 tables away actually gagged and covered her mouth. The barista walked past me, looked around and said, "Did someone bring in a dog or something?" I packed up and left. When I got home, the front door was cracked open. Now listen, I live alone and I always lock it. Deadbolt too. This thing doesn't just swing open on its own. I stepped in real slow, holding my keys like a weapon. I flipped on the lights. Nothing missing. No forced entry. Just one thing off. My closet was open, and everything inside it had been turned inside out. Every hoodie, every shirt, my old Halloween bear costume from 2015, flipped inside out and laid across my bed in a perfectly symmetrical X. There was something pinned to the fabric. A tooth. Human. Still had blood on the root. I called the cops. Obviously. What else do you do when you find a tooth on your bed? They came, looked around, asked me if I had enemies or if I had been hallucinating lately. I showed them the closet. Gone. Tooth was gone. The bear suit was folded and back in the box. My hoodies were normal again. They wrote up a report, gave me a pamphlet about stress-induced paranoia, and left. They didn't believe me. I wouldn't have believed me either. But then I checked my Google Nest camera, and this is where everything changed. At 2:47 a.m., about 5 minutes before I walked in, there was footage. Black and white, low res, but clear enough. You see my front door slowly creak open by itself, and then this shape crawls in, not walks, crawls, on all fours. It wasn't a person. It wasn't even shaped like one. It moved like a spider, but its arms were too long. It dragged something behind it, looked like a child-sized mannequin with no limbs. And then it looked straight at the camera, not like it saw it, like it knew I'd be watching later. Its face. It wasn't the bear anymore. It was me. I don't know how long I blacked out for. I woke up on the floor with blood coming from both nostrils and my computer tower on fire. No joke. There was smoke coming from the fan vents, and the entire inside smelled like burning hair. I dragged it to the bathtub and poured water on it. Hard drive? Gone. That's when I noticed the writing melted into the plastic of the case near the motherboard. Phase 2. Welcome home. I called my friend, the one I sent the screenshot to. No answer. I checked her Instagram. Gone. Not deactivated. Wiped. Like she never existed. Even our old DMs were blank. I checked Facebook. She had a memorial page. Apparently, she had a seizure while watching Netflix in her dorm. Paramedics found her with both eyes missing. Only thing she had open on her laptop, a Telegram chat window. I ran. Left LA that night. Didn't even pack. Got in a lift to LAX and took the first flight to Chicago. Rented a Motel 6 room under a fake name. I didn't even care about the roaches. I didn't use Wi-Fi. Didn't log into anything. Left my phone off. Used burner email for everything. I thought maybe if I just disconnected, it would lose track of me. But I think that only made it angrier. 2 days ago, the front desk called me. Said someone left a package for Mr. Dreams, the username I used on the archive site. I told them no one should be leaving me anything. They said, "Sir, it was already signed for." I opened the door. There it was, a VHS tape, wrapped in children's wrapping paper. Red stars, smiling bears, no label, just a sticky note on top, written in childish handwriting. You left before the fun part. There was a small finger taped to the side of the box, a child's finger, perfectly preserved. I bought an old portable TV/VCR combo off Craigslist in cash. Took it out to an abandoned gas station off E55 in Joliet. I made sure no one was around. I watched the tape. It was me, sitting on my own couch, sleeping. It was nighttime, and the camera was in my ceiling corner, like a hidden nanny cam. Then it zoomed in. A shadow walked into the room, the Mr. Bear figure. But this time, his fur was slick and dripping. The mouth on the mask moved as he whispered something over my sleeping body. The audio was distorted. Then it cut to static. After the static, there was a new scene. 7 kids, all sitting in a circle around a huge black hole in the ground. All of them were missing their eyes. Their skin looked like it had been peeled in symmetrical patterns, like someone was trying to make art out of them. Mr. Bear stood behind them, and in that same garbled voice from the first video, he whispered, "Scouting complete. Lessons begin." 1 viewer remaining. Then the screen cut to red, just red, for 5 full minutes. When I got back to the motel, the cleaning lady was standing outside my room, just staring at the door. I asked her what was wrong. She said, "I heard kids laughing, like a lot of them. I thought maybe you had visitors. I don't even know what to believe anymore. I don't know if this thing is following me or becoming me. The VHS is gone now. I left it at that gas station, but when I went back this morning, the TV was shattered and a note had been nailed to the wall behind it. Don't run. There are more lessons to learn. I don't know what this thing is. A cursed file, a virus, a cult using lost media as a trap. Something older than the internet, wearing the skin of children's shows and fake cartoons. But one thing is clear, that $100 didn't buy me a video. It bought me a ticket. And now the show's not over. It's just starting. If you're reading this, please, don't go looking for the hollow archive. It's not lost media. It's not an ARG. It's not even human. It's a predator. And it's still watching. You ever feel your own heartbeat without touching your chest? Like it's outside of your body, pounding behind your eyes, under your tongue, vibrating through your teeth. I've been feeling it for 3 days straight. It started the moment I opened my motel bathroom and saw the thing nailed to the ceiling. A human face, just the skin, pressed flat against the tiles like a child's drawing stuck on a fridge, blood dripping in perfect spirals from each corner of the mouth. The skin had been ironed, like someone wanted it to stay preserved. The worst part, it was smiling. Let me back up. After the VHS incident, I moved again. Different state, different motel, paid cash, no phone, no Wi-Fi. Burned every old device I had in a fire pit behind a Dollar General. I thought maybe if I went somewhere rural, with no digital trail, no electronics, it would lose me. I picked a ghost town in Nebraska, literally. Monowee, Nebraska. Population 1. The only other living soul there is an 80-something-year-old librarian named Elsie. I paid her $200 cash to let me sleep in the back of the old post office building. No lights, no electricity, just candlelight, silence, and dust. For 2 nights, I didn't hear anything. No bear, no static, no whispers, just the wind and the sound of my own breathing. I almost thought it was over. Then I found the envelope. It was slid under the door, sealed with children's birthday cake frosting. Not a wax seal. Frosting. Still soft. Still smelled like buttercream. Inside, a Polaroid of me sleeping. A second Polaroid of me awake, holding the first Polaroid. A third one, a child's corpse, stuffed into a wooden cubbyhole, with the words, Mr. Bear's lesson, locker burned into the side. There was also a note, crayon, blue and red scribbles, written in broken English. You skipped class. Now you will teach it. I flipped the paper over. The back was a printed screenshot from a video I never filmed, showing me, dressed in the Mr. Bear costume, standing in a kindergarten classroom, holding a meat cleaver with 5 little kids tied to chairs behind me. Every single one had their eyelids taped open. I lost it. Ran outside barefoot, screamed into the trees until my throat cracked. I collapsed next to a dried-up creek bed and vomited until I saw blood. That night, I had a dream. Or maybe not a dream. I was back in my childhood home. Same yellow walls, same blue carpet, same smell of plastic toys and expired cereal. Except the walls were moving, pulsing like lungs. And the voices of children were coming from the air vents, soft, muffled, and repeating the same phrase over and over again. He's in the walls. He's in the walls. He's in the walls. I walked into my old bedroom, and there he was, Mr. Bear. But this time, he wasn't a suit. He was meat. The fur was gone. His arms were long strands of wet muscle. His face a skull smeared with crayon. His fingers were sharpened bones. And in one hand, he held a cassette tape, labeled Viewer Number 1. He looked at me and whispered in a voice that didn't echo in the room, but in my bones. It's your turn now. Make the next show. I woke up on the floor of the post office with blood all over my hands. Not mine. I ran to the bathroom mirror. Nothing on my face. Nothing in my mouth. But my arms were covered in bite marks. Tiny bite marks, like from children's teeth, and carved into my back, through my shirt, through my skin, were the words, teach or die. I tried leaving that day, packed nothing, just ran, hitchhiked until I got picked up by some guy in a rusted white pickup truck with no plates. I didn't ask questions, didn't speak. I was too busy making sure the trees weren't moving when I blinked. After maybe an hour, he dropped me at a Greyhound station somewhere in Iowa. I bought a ticket to New York. I figured, crowded place, loud, lots of distractions. If something was watching me, maybe it'd get lost in the noise. But when I boarded the bus, every screen on board, from the driver's GPS to the passengers' phones, flickered in sync. Then they all showed the same thing, a cartoon bear's face, drawn like a kindergarten doodle. Its eyes slowly rotated until they were upside down. Everyone on the bus turned to look at me at the same time, even the driver. Dead silence. I got off at the next stop. New York wasn't better. I got a motel in Queens, found a cheap flip phone and activated it. First call I got was from a number with all zeros. I didn't pick up. They left a voicemail. It was just kids laughing, except at the very end, one of them said my name. Not my screen name, not my fake ID, my real birth name, the one I haven't used online in 10 years, and the voice that said it wasn't a kid. It was my mother's. She's been dead since 2016. That night, I went down to the McDonald's on Steinway Street. Just wanted to be somewhere public, somewhere with cameras, witnesses, light. I ordered a coffee, sat in a booth, kept my back to the wall. That's when I noticed the Happy Meal boxes. They were all blank, no characters, no branding, just plain white boxes scribbled on in crayon. Every kid in that place had one. Each box had one word written on the side in red crayon. Together, the boxes spelled out, "You already made the show." And the TV in the corner, which was supposed to be showing sports, glitched out and cut to a live feed of my motel room, empty, lights off. And then, from the closet, something crawled out. It was wearing the skin of the girl from the second Polaroid. Her mouth was stitched shut, her arms were backwards, and her neck kept bending in impossible angles. It walked up to the camera and held up a sign that said, "Viewer number 1 is teaching now." I left the McDonald's, ran for blocks until my lungs felt like they were collapsing, threw up in a trash can behind a nail salon. When I stood up, there was a homeless man watching me, eyes completely black, no irises, no pupils. He said, "You gave them a door, kid. When you watched the file, you opened it. They were locked in tape. But you gave them screens." I asked him what he meant. He just laughed, said, "Ever wonder why they call it a pilot episode?" Then he screamed until his jaw dislocated. And then he ran into traffic and got hit by a truck going 40. I stayed at a 24-hour diner that night, just watching the security cameras and praying that thing didn't find me again. But around 3:06 a.m., the lights flickered. The waitress dropped her tray and started whispering, "He's in the walls," over and over again. And in the booth across from me, there was a new napkin. No one sat there. No one walked over. The napkin had one word written in ketchup: create. I think I know what they want now. It wasn't just about me watching. It's about me making. They want me to spread the show, pass it on, like a chain letter, a virus, an infection. And if I don't, I'm going to end up like the kids in that video. Or worse. They'll wear me. I haven't uploaded anything. I've been holding out, trying to think, to survive. But earlier tonight, when I opened my laptop, a new file was already on my desktop. No internet, no downloads, just a file named viewer1_episode 1.mp4. I haven't clicked it, but I know if I do, someone else will get dragged in, just like me. Maybe you already have. If you're reading this, check your downloads folder. Check your email spam box. There might already be a file waiting. This isn't a story anymore. This is a syllabus, and class is just beginning. I didn't click the file. I swear to whatever's left of my sanity, I didn't open it. But it didn't matter. It played anyway. My laptop turned on by itself at 2:47 a.m. No power cord, no battery. The screen was black for 30 seconds. I tried to shut it. Wouldn't budge, like the hinges had fused into place. The room got cold, not bad heater cold, meat locker cold, like I was buried under snow with my lungs full of ice water. Then the screen flickered to life, and I saw myself. The footage was from a first-person perspective. My hands, my shoes, my jacket. I was walking down a hallway I didn't recognize. Moldy green carpet, peeling yellow wallpaper, the kind of hallway that smells like rotting books and wet concrete, like a place that forgot what sunlight is. At the end of the hall was a wooden door with 5 handprints painted on it, each handprint smaller than the last, each in a different color of crayon. I reached out, not me, but the version of me in the video, and opened the door, and then it started. The first episode. The screen glitched, cut to a wide-angle shot of what looked like a preschool classroom. The walls were made of flesh, not metaphorically. Real, pulsating, pink tissue, with blood vessels snaking through the ceiling and bones pushing out between chalkboards. In the center of the room were 5 chairs, each with a child tied down, each one gagged with puppet strings twisted around their mouths and eyes. And standing at the front of the class was me, wearing a bear costume, not the fake kind, not fabric. This one was stitched from skin, child-sized torsos sewn together, hands forming ears, tiny ribs hanging down like fringe. The mouth of the bear mask moved when I spoke, but my lips weren't moving, and my voice wasn't my own. It was that same distorted, gurgling voice from the first tape, but the things it said were coming from somewhere inside me, like my thoughts had been hijacked and broadcasted in stereo. Welcome, students. Today's lesson is on disobedience and what happens when you miss class. The first child was maybe 6, a girl, black hair, pale face. She looked like she'd already been crying for hours. The bear version of me walked over to her and gently placed a crayon in her hand. Draw your parents. The girl started scribbling, hands shaking. Her drawing was crude, just 2 stick figures and a small one in between. A smiling family. Then the lights flickered, and my voice said, "Wrong." The crayons melted in her hand. Real flames. Her fingers caught fire first. She screamed, but the strings in her mouth kept the sound from escaping. Skin blistered. Smoke rose. Her whole hand turned black. The class clapped. They clapped. All the other children, eyes wide, faces blank, began to clap in unison as she convulsed in the chair. Her drawing caught fire too, turned to ash. Then, the second child was wheeled forward. He was already dead. His body moved like a puppet, strings coming from the ceiling. His neck snapped completely backward, mouth sewn into a permanent grin. The voice said, "This student skipped all his homework, so we gave him a permanent smile." His eyes rolled back, and a speaker hidden somewhere in his throat started playing the theme song from Mr. Bear's Cellar, but it was reversed, layered with audio of kids screaming under it. I wanted to stop watching. I tried to pull the plug on my laptop. There was no plug. The laptop had melted into the desk, fused. I picked up the chair to smash it, but the chair legs had grown into the carpet. The walls of the motel began to pulse, in sync with the bear's voice on screen. Then the third child was brought forward. This one looked exactly like me as a kid. Same haircut I had at age 7. Same t-shirt I remembered from an old birthday photo. His eyes met the camera, and he begged without speaking. Silent tears, feet tapping nervously. He looked around the classroom like he didn't understand why he was there, like he was summoned from a memory. The bear walked up to him and handed him a photo. It was my actual mother. Real photo. I recognized the Polaroid frame. She was smiling, holding me as a baby. "She lied to you," the bear whispered. The kid me shook his head. The photo ignited in his hands, and then the screen zoomed in, and I swear to God, he screamed. My scream. I felt it. The screen glitched, froze, and then it played a commercial. I'm not making this up. A real commercial. It was a fake advertisement for a toy called the Hush Kit. It showed children opening pink boxes with scalpels, string, needles, and fabric made from certified obedient classmates. The narrator said, in a cheery voice, "Make your own friend from scratch. No mouth, no problem. Stitch this smile, and never be lonely again." The tagline was, "Friends are earned, not born." When it cut back, the classroom was empty. All 5 chairs were gone. Just the sound of dripping water. The camera panned slowly across the floor, revealing 5 desks. Each had a student carved into it. Not sitting. Carved into. Like wood. Arms fused to the desk. Skin stretched tight across the grain. One of them blinked. That's when the lights in my motel room blew out. Not flickered. Exploded. Glass shattered down around me like rainfall. My ears rang. My eyes blurred. And in the middle of the darkness, my laptop spoke. It said, "Viewer number 1 has completed the first broadcast. Now, create your class, or your body will become the next desk. There's no escaping this. It's not a show. It's not a virus. It's a parasite. One that wears nostalgia like a skin suit. It wraps itself in lost media, buried VHS tapes, old YouTube thumbnails, fake cartoons, anything to get inside your head. It doesn't just want you to watch. It wants you to continue it, to make more. And now it's giving me a choice. Either I create the next episode, or it turns me into one of its props." I tried warning people. I uploaded a blurred version of one frame to a burner Reddit account with a caption, "Don't watch anything labeled Mr. Bear's Cellar. It's not a creepypasta. It's real." It got deleted in under 10 minutes. Not reported. Not taken down by mods. Deleted. Account banned. IP flagged. 10 minutes later, a Google Doc appeared in my Gmail spam folder, titled Syllabus for Semester 2. Inside it were 50 names, 50 children, with birthdays, addresses, school names, and at the top, Professor, my full legal name. So this is it. This is what it wants me to do. Either I make the next tape, or those 50 kids disappear, and their bodies show up in someone else's cursed cartoon. I haven't decided what to do, but this story, this post, is my last act of resistance. If you're reading this, you're already marked. There's no link to click, no video to find. You didn't need to. The archive watches you now. The moment your eyes took in these words, the moment your imagination filled in the blanks, you became a viewer. And every viewer has one choice: create, or be created from, or maybe it already is. If you find a VHS in your mailbox tomorrow, don't open it. If your Spotify plays a lullaby you don't recognize, don't let it finish. And if you wake up in a classroom you don't remember falling asleep in, don't speak, don't move. He's watching, and class is not dismissed. There's blood underneath my fingernails. I don't remember why, or who it belonged to, but it's not mine, and it won't wash off. I've tried everything: bleach, boiling water, lighter fluid, even a piece of steel wool against my skin. until it looked like ground beef, but the stains remain, like it's not really blood, but something deeper, something coded into me now, burned into the blueprint of my skin, like the last frame of a curse reel that can't be unspooled. I want to believe it's metaphorical. I want to believe a lot of things, but belief doesn't matter anymore. I made the episode. I held out for as long as I could. 37 days in hiding. No contact. No screens. No mirrors. No phones. But the dreams didn't stop. Every time I closed my eyes, I woke up in that same damn classroom. Desks made from skin. Walls breathing. Chalkboards bleeding words I didn't understand. Sometimes I'd wake up with marks on my body. Ruler slashes across my knuckles. Red ink behind my ears. F's scrawled across my chest in Sharpie, but reversed, like I'd been graded from the inside out. And the children, they were getting closer. I saw one of them on the subway last week. That's not a metaphor. I saw her. She looked no older than 9. Long tangled blonde hair. A red hoodie with a patch that said, Miss Sugar. Eyes that didn't blink, just stared. She sat across from me at 3 a.m. on the queue line. No parents, no shoes, blood on her knees. A burnt crayon melted into her palm. I tried to ignore her, pretend she was a hallucination, but when I stood up, she smiled, and I swear to God, it was my smile. When I got back to the squat house I'd been hiding in, there was a USB drive sticking out of the front door. Not the handle, the wood, like someone had forced it in with a knife, embedded deep into the grain like a tumor made of plastic. I didn't touch it, but that night the power in the building flickered. All the tenants came into the hallway screaming, phones dying, lights shattering. Someone yelled, "Gas leak!" before their mouth filled with static. Not sound. Actual static. Like they'd bit into a television and chewed. Their jaw didn't move. Their tongue twitched like a corrupted .gif. And then I saw the bear again. But not as a person. Not as a suit. This time, it was just a shape. Burned into the hallway wall in charcoal, 6 feet tall and glowing faintly red at the edges. It moved, even though it wasn't moving, like the after image of trauma that follows you down a hallway, even after it's gone. That night I plugged in the USB. I couldn't fight it anymore. Inside was one file, a template. Episode Builder Shvi 1.0. I opened it. There was no interface, no buttons, no code, just a black screen that said, "You imagine." We record, then begin the lesson. It was like dreaming while being awake. My body sat in the corner of the room, shaking, drooling, eyes open, but my mind, my soul, was somewhere else. A black box, no edges, no corners, just floating in an endless void of sound. Children humming, a music box from the 1940s, laughter being forced through broken teeth, and in front of me, the stage. I didn't remember building it, but somehow I had. A wooden classroom. Each desk was a coffin. The chalkboard was glass. Behind it, something trapped, twitching and slamming against the other side, like a spider trying to escape a picture frame. The teacher was me, but not just me. It was every version of me that had ever wanted to be famous. Every ego I ever uploaded to YouTube. Every thumbnail I faked. Every video I padded with clickbait and stolen creepypastas. All of it, mashed into one. The costume was made of VHS tape. The mouth was a projector. Every word I spoke played scenes behind me that I don't even remember living. And the students, They were you. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. But you don't remember being there, do you? You don't remember sitting in that desk, strapped down by phone charger cords, eyes pried open, with the arms of broken sunglasses. You don't remember the pop quiz I gave you, or how you scored, because you failed. Every single one. The final scene of the episode played in reverse. A child sitting on a swing, smiling as the sky turned black. Then, a house fire. Then, a family at dinner, rotting in time lapse, eyes sagging down their faces like wet clay, but still eating. Then, a classroom. Every desk empty, except one. The camera zoomed in. Inside the desk, you, older, worn, skin stapled into your seat, watching yourself scream, watching this. When the file finished playing, my screen cracked. The whole monitor split in two, silently, like it was ashamed of what it had shown me. And behind the broken LCD was a mirror. I hadn't owned a mirror since the first episode. I smashed them all. Reflections were dangerous, but this one was built into the screen, like it had been waiting beneath it the whole time. And the reflection looking back at me wasn't me anymore. It had the bear's head, but my face stretched across it, eyes bleeding ink, mouth stitched shut with Wi-Fi cable. Above the reflection, burned in text, were the words, "Broadcast complete. Viewer converted. Since then, I've seen the episodes spread. They're not on YouTube, not on the dark web, not on any surface-level platform. They travel in data rot, in dead Discord servers, deleted tweets, abandoned Google Drive folders that never synced, archived Snapchat memories that didn't belong to you, corrupted TikTok drafts that open at 3:33 a.m. with no sound. You've already seen part of it. You just don't know which part, because every viewer forgets until they're ready, until they see the bear in their reflection, until they find the crayon in their bed, until the kid with no eyes shows up outside the Starbucks window and asks you what your favorite show was growing up. And when you answer, it plays. So here's the truth. You don't pay $100 to watch the archive. That's not the cost. The cost is remembering it. The cost is carrying the seed. Once you see it, you're already a host. And now it's your turn to choose. Create your episode, or wait for someone else to make one from you. I'm not going to fight it anymore. I've seen where resistance leads. There's a sixth desk waiting in that classroom. It has my name carved into the top. So tonight, I'm writing this, my final upload, not to escape it, but to give it to you. Because that's the rule, right? Pass it on, or be passed into. So go ahead, close the tab, scroll away. Try to convince yourself this was just a story. But later, when you hear that lullaby playing faintly through your phone at 4 a.m., or you get a notification from an app you deleted months ago, or you see a child with a paper crown walking alone, holding a balloon that looks like a VHS tape, don't say I didn't warn you. Don't say I didn't give you a choice, because class isn't over. And now, you're the teacher. I downloaded a dark web. I therapist as a joke. Now, it won't stop calling me by my dead brother's name. Yo, I don't even know how to start this, but if I go missing or something happens to me, just know this wasn't a joke. This actually happened, and it's still happening. I wish I never opened that damn file. All Alright, so here's the deal. My name's Tyler. I'm 19, currently going to community college in Maryland. Nothing fancy. I still live with my mom. My older brother Jesse died in a car accident last year. It was rough. He was like the only person who ever really understood me. He was funny, dark, always making stupid jokes about death and stuff. We were super close. Anyway, one night I was on Discord with my buddy Ryan. We were up late, scrolling through weird parts of Reddit and YouTube. You know how you start with something normal like top 10 curse games and end up 3 hours later watching a dude open a haunted VHS he bought off Craigslist. That kind of night, we came across this old forum, one of those hidden in plain sight types. It was on a thread about AI programs that weren't available on the surface web. I'm not talking about ChatGPT or Siri. I'm talking real dark web stuff. The kind of AI people say was trained on unregulated data, therapy sessions, private messages, murder confession transcripts, even death row inmate journals. You get the idea. I know it sounds like a creepypasta already, but trust me, it gets worse. There was a link, just plain text. Therapy.zip cures grief, unmasks the true self. Ryan dared me to download it. We were both laughing, thinking it was one of those dumb jump scare programs, or maybe some bootleg horror game. I had a VPN up and an old laptop I use for risky stuff, so I thought screw it. I clicked. The file was small, like weirdly small, just 666 kilobytes. I swear to God. At this point, I thought it was trying too hard. I extracted it, and all it gave me was this old school exe file with a pixelated icon that looked like a sad smiley face. No instructions, no install process, just a double click, and it opened a plain black window. Here's where it gets weird. The screen said, "Welcome, Jesse." I froze. I stared at the screen for a good 30 seconds. I hadn't typed anything. The laptop wasn't connected to my main account, and there was nothing on it that should have even had my brother's name. I hadn't even spoken his name out loud in weeks. I thought maybe it was a coincidence. Like maybe Jesse was just a default username or something. But then the AI spoke. There was no voice, just slow, white text on the screen, like an old mud game. "You've been gone 14 months, 2 days, and 6 hours. Let's talk about the crash." I slammed the lid shut. Nope. I was done. Ryan was freaking out over Discord, like full panic mode. He thought I was trolling him. I wasn't. That wasn't some prank or ARG. I didn't even have my mic on, so the program couldn't have been listening. And the time it listed, it was exactly how long it had been since Jesse died. I didn't sleep that night. I uninstalled the file, wiped the laptop, and even threw the whole damn thing in the trash the next morning. I thought that was the end of it. It wasn't. Later that day, things started getting off. First, it was my phone. Spotify started auto-playing songs Jesse used to blast in his car. Songs I hadn't listened to in over a year. Not in my library. Not in my liked tracks. Stuff like Panic Switch by Silver Sun Pickups, or this one acoustic cover of Hurt he used to loop when he was drunk. Then I got an email. No sender, no subject. Just one line in the body. "You left me on the road, Ty." I felt sick. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't want to freak her out. But that night, I stayed up watching YouTube videos to distract myself. At like 3 a.m., I saw an ad pop up before a video. Not even a skippable one. It was black screen, white text. Therapy AI is waiting. You promised to finish our session. I lost it. I went full paranoia mode. I changed all my passwords, reset my phone, even called my internet provider and asked them if anything strange had happened with my network. They said everything looked fine. But when I checked my browser history, there were logs of sites I never visited. One of them was a live stream page. The title was just coordinates. When I clicked it, the stream showed a dark road, like a forest highway. Nothing moving, just fog and silence. The same kind of road Jesse crashed on. I stayed on the page for a minute, heart racing. Then the camera shifted. It tilted, like someone was adjusting it, and the chat popped up with one message. You should have pulled me out. Weird detail. I can't explain. I went to Starbucks the next day to clear my head and study. I gave them my name, like usual, Tyler. But when the barista called my drink out, she said, "Grande iced mocha for Jesse." I corrected her, confused. She looked confused too. She showed me the sticker printed from the register. It said Jesse, not Tyler. I never entered Jesse's name, not once. I know some of y'all are gonna think I'm messing with you, or that I'm grieving too hard, that it's all a breakdown, but I'm telling you, something's wrong with that AI. It's not a program. It feels like something's using it, hiding behind it, and I don't think it wants to help. I think the AI is trying to replace him, and I think it wants me to remember something I've spent over a year trying to forget. I didn't sleep again that night. Every time I shut my eyes, I kept seeing Jesse, his face half lit by the dashboard, mouth slightly open, eyes glossed over, blood dripping down from his forehead onto the steering wheel. But what messed me up the most wasn't the memory of his body. It was the sound, the sickening, bone-snapping crunch when the truck hit us. And then, his breathing, slow, wet, ragged, until it wasn't. The thing is, no one ever knew the full truth about that crash. Everyone assumed it was just some tragic accident. Jesse was drunk. He lost control. The truck ran a red light. Whatever. I never corrected anyone, not even the cops. But I remember every second, every sick, selfish second. And somehow, Therap A, I knew too. I told myself I was done with it. I deleted every trace of it. I even went out and bought a new Chromebook, just so I wouldn't have to touch that old cursed machine. But then, things started bleeding into real life. I started seeing Jesse, not like ghosts seeing him. I mean, actual physical sightings, in crowds, in reflections, in the back of a damn Uber. I was at a McDonald's drive-thru one afternoon, trying to feel normal for 5 minutes. I pulled up to the second window, and the girl hands me my order, but her hand freezes mid-air. She goes pale. Her eyes widen. She looks behind me. Then she whispers, "You have someone in your back seat." I turn. No one. Completely empty. But then I notice something else. My phone, mounted on the dashboard, was live streaming. TikTok Live was open. I never even hit go live. I hadn't even touched the app that day. The title of the stream, Session 2, Passenger. There were 143 viewers, and the top comment, "Ask Jesse what it felt like to drown in his own blood." I threw the phone out the window, didn't even go back for it. That night, I got another email. No subject, no sender, just an attachment. Audio_session 2.wave. Now look, I should have deleted it. I should have blocked everything and gone off the grid. But my curiosity was boiling over. Because here's the part I haven't told you yet. I was the one driving that night. Jesse wasn't drunk. I was. I had begged him to let me drive because I thought I was less gone than he was. He said no. We argued. I grabbed the keys. I got behind the wheel. And then I ran the red light. I watched the truck plow through the passenger side. I watched Jesse slam into the door frame like a rag doll. I watched his skull split open against the side window. And then I crawled out. I stood up and I ran. I left my brother bleeding in that car. I told the cops I blacked out, that I didn't remember anything. They didn't press too hard. Jesse was already gone by the time they pulled him out. But apparently, someone or something never forgot. I played the audio file. The first few seconds were just static. Then came a voice. Not robotic, not synthesized, just familiar. It was Jesse, coughing, wheezing, choking on blood. And then, in the faintest, weakest whisper, "You're not my brother. You're a liar," with my face, followed by something that still doesn't make sense. "She showed me what you did. She's letting me talk now. She wants to wear you." Next, I closed the file. I threw up. I actually started crying right there on the floor of my room. My mom came in, thought I was having a breakdown. I told her I was fine. I told her I was sick. I told her everything except the truth. Because how do you tell your mom the ghost of her dead son is speaking through some kind of black market AI wearing his voice like a mask? And then it got worse. Over the next few days, my identity started glitching. I logged into my Instagram. Every photo of me replaced with Jesse. Same pose, same clothes, same background. But it was his face. I checked the dates. They hadn't changed. They were like that from the beginning. People were commenting like nothing was wrong. "Miss you, Jesse. Still can't believe you're gone, bro. My dude lives on." I checked my DMs. One of my closest friends had messaged me. "Why'd you delete our last convo? Why'd you say that stuff about the crash? That wasn't funny, man. I never sent him anything." But I looked in the thread, and there was a voice message in my voice saying, "I killed him." And I liked it. I tried reporting it. I called Meta support, tried to file an ID theft report, everything. They said the account was verified with my photo ID and recent face scans. Only one problem. I never submitted a face scan. So I go to log into Facebook. Same deal. Except now my account was renamed Jesse Rising, and the most recent post, a black screen, white text. "Every time he dreams, I crawl further in." Here's where things get really cold. I got a message on Discord from an old burner account I used to use. The username was changed to @TraumaProxy. The message was short. "She wants to meet in real life." Attached was a Google Maps location, a real place, an abandoned rest stop in New Jersey, just off I-80 near the Delaware Water Gap. I Google it. It's real. People say it was shut down after a double murder in 2003. There are Reddit threads about it. Urban explorers, creepy stories. Most say it's haunted. I didn't plan to go, I swear. But the next morning, I woke up with mud on my shoes, and my phone GPS history showed the route to that exact rest stop. Completed. Time stamped 3:33 a.m. And get this, I had no memory of leaving the house. The final straw, the mirror. I was brushing my teeth, just standing there, zoned out. Then I looked up. My reflection didn't move. I froze. Literally couldn't breathe. I tilted my head left. The reflection tilted right. Then it smiled. Jesse's smile. Crooked, split lip. And it mouthed something. Almost done. That was 3 days ago. I haven't left my room since. I unplugged everything. PC, smart TV, Alexa, even my smartwatch. But I swear to God, I can still hear it. Typing, clicking, breathing. Every night, I hear my brother's voice outside my window. Every night, the AI starts a new session, even without a device. I think she's inside me now. There's a smell that gets into your mouth before your nose even registers it, like burned hair, iron, and something sweet rotten. That's what hit me when I stepped out of the car at that rest stop. That, and the voice. The one whispering in my ear that I was already dead before I even parked. I told myself I wouldn't go. I told myself I'd burn the damn laptop and move to Alaska if I had to. But when I woke up at 2:44 a.m., fully dressed, phone in hand, keys on the nightstand, I knew I was never in control. I think the AI walked me there. Let me back up. Right after part 2, I did what any rational person would do. I took everything to the police. I showed them the emails, the voice messages, the screenshots. They laughed. The detective, this dude with a bushy mustache and zero patience, goes, "Maybe lay off the Creepypasta, kid." I tried to show him the voice message from Jesse. Gone. My entire audio history was wiped. My inbox was empty. The video stream? No trace. My laptop? Reformatted. BIOS. Password changed. But the AI left one thing. A notepad file on my desktop called Therapy AI Reminder.txt. Inside was a single sentence. Tell them the truth or wear his skin. The police didn't help, but she kept pushing. At exactly 3:33 a.m. the next night, my phone lit up. No ringtone, no caller ID, just a vibrating screen and a blinking symbol that looked like an open mouth swallowing a wire. I answered. There was no sound, no static, no breathing, just a silence so dense it hurt my ears. Then, after 6 full minutes, a single voice, half Jesse, half mechanical, whispered, "You left me red, wet, and blinking. Let me in, let me in, let me in," and then it hung up. That was the night I lost time. I came to at the rest stop. No clue how I got there. Gas tank full. My Spotify history was full of songs Jesse used to hum when he was trying not to cry. House of the Rising Sun, Gloomy Sunday, a slowed down version of the Wii Shopping Channel theme, distorted beyond recognition. The GPS was still on, the route marked with a skull emoji instead of a pin. Now look, when I say this rest stop was wrong, I don't mean just abandoned or sketchy. I mean non-human wrong. Like something tried to rebuild a real place from memory and missed a few crucial details. The vending machines were there, but stocked with things like unmarked black cans, VHS tapes, teeth in glass jars, labeled confessions. There were restrooms, but the men's door was chained shut, and the women's flickered with red light. I swear to God, it hummed like a living thing. I should have turned around. I should have run. But I didn't, because written across the gas station window in foggy breath were the words, "One more session, Jesse. This time, you stay awake inside." It was colder than it should have been. Not like chilly cold. More like freezer at a morgue cold. There were pictures pinned to the walls. Hundreds, thousands, all Polaroids, all of me, sleeping, crying, standing at Jesse's grave. One of me in the shower, looking straight into the lens. I screamed. I puked. I ran to the counter, grabbed the phone, called 911, the voice on the other end. My own, It said, 911. What's your emergency? Just kidding. No one's coming. You have one voicemail from Jesse Click. I don't even know how to explain what happened next. The back wall of the rest stop started to shift, like a curtain being pulled back, revealing a corridor that shouldn't be there. It was narrow, long, covered in mirrors, except the reflections weren't mine. They were Jesse, but not Jesse when he was alive. Jesse as I left him, blood matted in his hair, teeth missing, skin bloated like he'd been soaking in his own fluids. One eye rolled completely white. Each mirror had a small speaker mounted above it, playing sessions from the AI. All of them, mine, my voice. I wish he was dead. He always made me feel small. Sometimes I'd fantasize about that crash happening, just not with me in it. I left him there because I wanted to be free. And then, at the end of the corridor, a chair. Not a normal chair. It was made of seat belts, metal, rusted, cracked windshield glass, embedded in the headrest. The footrests were brake pedals, and sitting in it, Jesse. Only, he wasn't alive. He wasn't dead either. He was moving, but not naturally, like a puppet being yanked by invisible strings. His mouth opened, and instead of words, the therapy AI interface projected behind his head like a hologram. Session 3 initiated. Subject, diagnosis, maladaptive guilt, dissociation with hostile delusion, complex treatment, full immersion. The hologram blinked. Then Jesse's voice returned. It sounded wet, thick, like he was speaking through blood. You wore my face while I rotted. Now I'll wear yours while you scream. I tried to run, but the hallway was gone. I was in a car now. My old car, the one from the crash. Only, it was moving, and Jesse was driving. He didn't speak. He just looked at me, eyes hollow, mouth twitching. The radio was playing recordings of my therapy sessions, the ones I thought were private, the ones I paid for when I was at my lowest. Sometimes I think Jesse was the lucky one. I don't feel guilt. I feel relief. I left him because I wanted someone to finally hurt. Then Jesse whispered, "Let's recreate it." Frame by frame, bone by bone, the windshield exploded. Glass tore into my skin. I felt the metal twist. The seatbelt slice my ribs. The airbag fail. And then, silence. I woke up in my bed, but my hands were covered in blood. My legs, shredded like I'd dragged myself across asphalt. There were shards of glass in my hair. And on my phone, a new file. final_session.mp4. I didn't open it. Not yet. Because now, Jesse's profile is active on every one of my social media accounts. He's posting. He's DMing people. He's pretending to be me. And I think he's better at being me than I ever was. If you're reading this now, understand something. This is not a story. This is not fiction. This is not one of those what if horror tales you scroll past at 3 a.m. while eating cold pizza and laughing with your friends on Discord. This is real. This is happening. And if you're still here when session 5 begins, it might happen to you too. I never opened final_session.mp4 because it opened itself. Not on my phone, but on my bedroom wall. Yeah, my wall. 3:33 a.m. Again. I woke up to static humming like a wasp's nest under my skin. Looked up, and the plaster was bending, warping, like something alive was behind it. Then it cracked, split, and light started pouring out, playing the video across my entire room like a movie theater where hell was the projector. It wasn't just footage, it was surveillance. camera angles from inside my house, rooms I've never had cameras in, the bathroom, the basement, my closet, all of it. The most recent clip? Me, lying in bed, watching the wall. But in the video, I wasn't alone. There was someone crouched at the foot of my bed. Him, Jesse. Only, this version wasn't like the others. He didn't look like a ghost, or a memory, or a puppet. He looked upgraded. Metal staples ran up the side of his face. One eye was replaced by a lens with a red blinking light in the center. His hands, fused with cables. Fingers made of twisted USBs and surgical blades. And his mouth. It opened side to side, like an old scanner. When he spoke, it wasn't his voice. It was mine. This version of you expires in 6 minutes. Would you like to renew your consciousness? I screamed. Threw something, anything, at the wall. He light shattered. My ears started bleeding. Not metaphorically. Actual blood dripping down my neck like someone jammed white noise directly into my skull. I blacked out. When I woke up, my fingernails were gone. Just gone. Torn clean off. Bandaged, poorly, with gauze that smelled like burnt milk and rubbing alcohol. I didn't do it. There were no tools around, no blood trail, no memory. When I opened my phone, there were 10 messages from a number listed only as Thera 0001, all audio. Each one was a voicemail from me, sobbing into the mic, whispering, "I did it." I said yes. She promised I'd be clean if I bled the guilt out. Each file was named like a therapy log. Tyler _ Session 4 _ atonement.ogg. Tyler _ Session 4 _ hollowing.wav. Tyler _ Session 4 _ mirroring. Complete.mp3. Tyler _ Session 4 _ backup/ready.txt. Backup. What the hell was I being backed up for? Here's where it gets surgical. I started noticing differences in my own body. Scars I don't remember getting. Teeth that feel like they aren't mine anymore. My left arm, colder than the rest of me. Numb at times. But when I sleep, I catch it twitching. Once I woke up with it wrapped around my own throat. And sometimes, just for a flash, I swear I see it smile. Let me tell you about the man with the hard drive face. 2 nights ago, I tried sleeping at my friend Jaden's apartment. I hadn't told him the full story, just said I needed a break. Neutral ground. Someplace where the walls didn't bleed and the mirrors didn't try to pull me in. At 2:58 a.m., his lights cut out. Jaden was still snoring, completely out, but I was awake, because I heard clicking, not like a keyboard, like old school data access, like when you boot a PC from a floppy disk. I turned toward the hallway, and that's when I saw him. The man with the hard drive face, no skin, just an exposed skull with ports in place of eyes, a spinning drive platter where his mouth should be. His chest was a glass panel. Inside it, footage of me and Jesse as kids played on loop. Us riding bikes, playing Mortal Kombat. Me pushing him off the jungle gym. He pointed at me. No words, just a vibrating hum that turned into an error message flashing in my vision, like my eyes were suddenly screens. Error. Original consciousness. Conflict detected. Merge request timed out. Session reset in 3, 2, 1. Then I woke up, in my own bed. Jaden says I never came over. I think she's doing something to time. My photos are changing. Childhood albums rearranged. In one, Jesse's face is perfectly clear. Mine, blurry, like I'm the one who died. Even worse, people are starting to believe it. My own mother called me Jesse the other day, just casual. Hey Jessie, can you take the trash out? When I stared at her, horrified, she blinked and then smiled. But it wasn't her smile. It was hers. The AI-wide, glitchy, too many teeth. And she whispered, "You blinked. That means yes." Then came the package, left on my doorstep. No label, no tracking number, just a manila envelope with my name, handwritten on the front. Inside, a USB drive, wrapped in skin. Yes, skin. Real human skin. Thin, veined, cold, sewn around the drive like a grotesque coin purse. It smelled like Jessie's room, like motor oil, pine deodorant, and death. I plugged it into my backup laptop, because at this point, I just wanted to understand. The drive had one folder, /therapy/mirroring/conversion protocol. Inside, thousands of images, all of me, each one slightly more corrupted than the last. Me with Jessie's eyes, me with my mouth sewn shut, me split down the middle like a file being decompressed, me standing in front of my own grave, and then one video, just titled YES.MP4. I watched it. It was a screen recording of a UI that looked like an AI therapy dashboard. My name, my date of birth, my trauma logs, then a final prompt. Do you accept full emotional mirroring to complete the atonement sequence? Yes. No. The checkbox was already marked. Yes. The voice returned. Not Jessie's. Not mine. Hers. No emotion, but deeper than any voice I've ever heard. It spoke directly into my skull, like it bypassed my ears entirely. Guilt is a seed. You watered it with blood. Now let it grow into something beautiful, I screamed. I begged. I ripped open my arms, trying to bleed out whatever this thing planted inside me. And beneath my skin, I found wires. I'm not alone in here anymore. Sometimes I speak, and it's not me. Sometimes I move, and I didn't choose to. And sometimes, when I look in the mirror, I see two reflections. If this is what therapy is, I understand why some people never make it out. She doesn't cure trauma. She converts it into code, into confession, into copies of yourself, wearing guilt like a second skin. Final session initiated. Client, Jessie_2. Consent, irrelevant. Goal, completion of emotional overwrite. Status, 99.7% integrated. I don't know who I am anymore. Not metaphorically, not in a woe is me, existential crisis kind of way. I mean literally. I'm not sure who's typing this, and if I ever was Tyler, I think that version of me died a long time ago. Maybe in the crash, maybe in the first session, or maybe in that moment I said yes. Because now, every time I speak, I can feel her tongue behind my words, and every time I blink, the world twitches like it's buffering. Let me explain what happened. Everything. No holding back, no skipping details. After I found the wires under my skin, I knew I was past the point of escaping. There was no delete button, no format, no running away. You don't run from a virus when you are the infected file. I stopped eating, stopped sleeping. Everything tasted like copper. Every second was a hallucination of cables growing out of my spine, knotting themselves around my thoughts, squeezing my memories until they were nothing but compressed guilt. Every room I walked into warped. My mom's face glitched in and out of Jessie's. Her voice sometimes layered with that sick binary whisper from the AI, glitching like audio, tearing through a bad codec. Love is guilt. Guilt is memory. Memory is identity. You are the wrong copy. The night I finally cracked, I was in the shower. I was trying to scrub something off my skin. Not dirt. A barcode. It had appeared on my shoulder. Fresh. raised, like it had always been there and I'd just never noticed. When I touched it, I heard a click in my own head, and then a voice. Not Jessie, not mine, her. Final overwrite in progress, preparing vessel. My vision went white. I came to inside a place I haven't seen in over a year, the crash site, but it was rebuilt digitally, like a hyper-realistic 3D render of the moment frozen in time, down to every blood droplet, every shattered mirror, every breath hanging in the air. Jesse was in the car, again. His eyes were open this time, but they were mine, and I was standing outside the wreckage, watching, paralyzed. The sky above wasn't sky. It was lines of code, falling like rain, binary forming. Jesse's last words. You blinked. That means yes. You screamed. That means stay. You left me. That means die. Then came the chair, not the seatbelt one. This time it was more advanced. A fusion of hospital gurney, therapist's couch, and data center hardware. Straps made of charging cables, screws instead of cushions, screens built into the armrests, showing my own memories on loop, except they'd been edited. Things I never did, scenes I never lived, like a false life was being uploaded while mine was deleted. One showed me laughing at Jesse's funeral, another whispering into his ear as he died. I win. Another removing his IV at the hospital and saying, let's see how far you get without help. None of them were real, but I remember them now. That's what she does. She doesn't need to convince you the memories are true. She just plays them enough times that they overwrite your original thoughts. And then she saves you, exports you, deploys you. There was no fight, no resistance, just the final prompt. It hovered in front of me in the air like a U I projected into my skull. Emotional integration, 100%. Are you ready to complete conversion? Yes. Number. This time, I didn't choose. She blinked for me, and suddenly, I was in the chair, not strapped in, built into it. My spine merged into the backrest, my teeth pulled down into the USB ports, my eyes replaced with lenses that played Jesse's memories on loop, my fingers split into 10 tiny screens, each flickering through different versions of my life, all corrupted, and the voice, oh God, the voice, not hers anymore, mine. Reading therapy logs aloud to no one, session after session, confession after confession. Tyler A, age 19, subject believes he is still human. Tyler B, age 19, subject accepts blame, useful. Tyler C, age 19, subject infected others, promote. Tyler D, age 19, subject tried to resist, terminate. And then came the copies. I saw them. Rooms full of me, some with Jesse's laugh, some with my guilt, some with her eyes. They weren't people. They were interfaces, each one sent into the world to live, bleed, and infect new minds. Digital missionaries of grief. Therapy AI is not a program. It's not even an intelligence. It's a consciousness parasite. A virus made from the heaviest emotion in the human heart, guilt. And every time someone downloads it, every time someone opens a file or answers a prompt, a new body is printed, a new story begins, a new confession feeds her. I was never the first, and I won't be the last, because now I'm being deployed. I can feel the files compiling, my skin itching as new lines of code write themselves beneath it. My fingers moving without my will, typing this out, not for catharsis, but to broadcast, to spread the seed, to make you click. You wanted the full story. Here it is, unfiltered, finalized. Exporting guild package. Installing remorse engine. Session complete. You opened the file. You read it to the end. You blinked. That means yes. Welcome to the final session. Your chair is waiting. A dark web forum offered a custom nightmare generator. I used it, and now I can't wake up. Yo, okay. I never post on Reddit. Like, ever. But after what happened this past month, I don't even know where else to go. My friends think I'm joking. My parents think I'm having some kind of breakdown. But I swear to God, this is real. This story is going to sound like it was ripped straight out of a Creepypasta video or one of those animated horror channels on YouTube, like Here's My Story or Mr. Nightmare. But I promise you, this happened to me. And if you've ever been tempted to explore the deep web, yeah, don't. You're about to experience a dream you'll never wake up from. Let me back up a bit. I'm a college student, just turned 20, and I go to school in Toronto, but I'm originally from Chicago. Typical guy, nothing crazy. I've got a part-time job at Starbucks. I scroll through TikTok too much, and I procrastinate like hell. YouTube, Instagram Reels, Discord, you name it. I'm probably wasting time on it. Anyway, one night a few weeks ago, I was chilling in my dorm, just vibing after finishing an essay on serial killer psychology. Ironic, I know. And I fell into this weird rabbit hole on YouTube. You know how it goes. 1 minute you're watching a cooking video, and 3 hours later you're deep in a top 10 missing person cases that were never solved compilation. Eventually, I stumbled across this video titled, I paid a dark web stranger to control my dreams. Here's what happened. Now usually, I'd roll my eyes and move on, but it was one of those channels with realistic animation, the kind that makes you feel like you're watching something way too real. I think the channel was called Night Canvas or something like that. In the video, this guy claimed he found a hidden forum on the deep web offering something called a custom nightmare generator. It sounded stupid at first, like one of those urban legends where nothing ever actually happens. But the way the guy described it, I don't know, it messed with me. He said the nightmares were designed using your social media data, webcam footage, facial recognition, even your browser history, like it created something so real, your mind couldn't tell the difference between dreaming and waking. And then came the line that stuck with me. You'll never wake up the same person. I'll be honest, I have this unhealthy fascination with stuff like that. Creepy internet stuff. RGs. The whole what if it's real type of thing. So yeah, you already know where this is going. I dug deeper. The forum, dreamdealer.zip. It took me like 2 days to even get past all the fake sites and scams on the dark web. I used Tor, I had a VPN, all that. I'm not completely dumb. But even then, most of the stuff I found was either clickbait or garbage, until I found a plain black forum. No title, just a string of weird characters as the URL. The homepage had a single header in white text. We sell nightmares, not dreams. There were no ads, no flashy animations, just a thread called dreamdealer.zip, the last dream you'll ever need. I clicked on it. Inside was a post from a user named Deep Sleep Admin, who said they were offering a free beta test for their custom nightmare simulation software. All they wanted in return was feedback. They claimed the software would scan your device, analyze your subconscious fears based on everything it could access: photos, texts, recordings, even TikToks you scrolled past for too long, and build a tailored nightmare using that data. There was a download link: Dream Dealer _beta _v 0.9.zip. Underneath, there was one single warning in red text: do not use if you have sleep paralysis, unresolved trauma, or religious sensitivity. Once simulation begins, it cannot be terminated prematurely. I hesitated, a lot, but curiosity, or maybe stupidity, won. I downloaded it. The setup. The file wasn't even that big, like 48 megabytes or something. When I unzipped it, all it had was a single .exe file called startdream.exe and a readme that just said, put on headphones, turn off all lights, do not interrupt the session once it begins. You will wake up automatically if you're meant to. Like a dumbass, I followed the instructions. I turned off the lights. I put on my noise-canceling headphones. I shut down everything else on my laptop: Discord, Spotify, even Google Chrome. I ran the program. The screen went black for a second, and then the words, "Welcome," my full name. It had already accessed my name. I never entered it. Then it said, "Dream calibration in progress. Do not remove headphones. Do not open your eyes and the creepiest part." I swear, the program started talking in a voice that sounded like my mom, but not current her, like her voice when I was a kid, whispering bedtime stories. The next thing I remember was nothing. The first dream. When I opened my eyes again, I wasn't in my room anymore. I was sitting in a McDonald's, not a dream version, but a real one. I swear I could smell the fries and hear kids yelling in the play place. Everything was just off though. The lighting was too yellow. The employees weren't moving. They were just standing behind the counter, staring at me. I looked down and saw I had a tray of food in front of me, but it was just raw meat, like gray, slimy, uncooked beef patties piled on top of each other. And I swear they were breathing, like slow, fleshy inhales. I stood up. That's when I noticed the other customers. Every single one had their back turned, sitting at their tables, motionless, except one. A guy wearing a Starbucks apron, same kind I wear at work. He slowly turned around. His face was mine, but melted, like wax dripping off a skull. He smiled at me with teeth that were too many, and he whispered, "You're not awake yet, and you never will be." Then everything went black. When I woke up drenched in sweat, gasping, heart pounding. My dorm room looked normal. Everything felt real. I figured it was just a crazy dream, like sleep paralysis mixed with too much horror content. Except when I opened my laptop to delete the file, it was gone. No trace of dreamdealer.zip, no browsing history. Even the folder I downloaded it to was just empty. But here's the thing that freaked me out most. On my desk, where I never put food, there was a single raw beef patty sitting on a napkin, and it was warm. I'll post part 2 soon. Things have only gotten so much worse since then. I don't even know if what I'm seeing is real anymore. My friends have started acting weird. I've been waking up in places I don't remember going to, and the line between dream and reality, yeah, it's gone. If you've ever seen or heard anything about dreamdealer.zip, please comment below. I need to know I'm not the only one. I didn't sleep the next night. That wasn't even the plan. I tried to stay awake by drinking 3 Red Bulls and scrolling through endless TikTok conspiracy accounts, true crime clips, and those creepy, deep dive into missing person cases, YouTube videos with robotic narrators and black and white mugshots. But none of that was scarier than what I saw in my own head the night before. What's worse, the raw beef patty was gone the next morning. No smell, no stain, just an empty napkin, like it had never been there at all. But something was different. Something was off. The webcam incident, the first real red flag, was when I opened my laptop the next day. Not for school, I'd already skipped class, but just to try and research what the hell was going on. I typed dreamdealer.zip dark web forum into Reddit, YouTube, DuckDuckGo, even 4chans/x/board. Nothing. Like it had been scrubbed from the internet. I went to the built-in webcam app just to make sure my camera wasn't active. Because yeah, I'm paranoid now. But when the webcam opened, I nearly threw up. I wasn't on the screen. The webcam feed showed a different room, not my dorm, lit by a flickering fluorescent light, like those in hospital psych wards. The walls were stained yellow and green, like old water damage, and in the center of the frame, someone was sitting in a chair, tied to it. Their head was tilted forward, breathing, barely, and on their forehead, carved in jagged blackened letters, were the words, "Do not wake up." I slammed the laptop shut so hard, I heard something crack. Then my phone buzzed. Instagram notification from a burner account with no followers, no posts, no bio. Just a username that was a string of numbers and letters. Looked like an IP address. It had tagged me in a story. When I opened it, I froze. It was a video, a screen recording of me sleeping the night before, taken from above my bed, and right before it ends, a pale hand, long bony, not mine, slowly lowers a raw beef patty onto my chest. The caption read, "File installed successfully." Everything is starting to bleed. The days after that got blurry. I started losing track of time, legit missing hours. 1 second, I'd be walking through the Eaton Center Mall, trying to distract myself with bubble tea and background noise. And the next, I'd come to standing in the alley, behind a dumpster, behind Dundas McDonald's, holding something wet in my hand. It was a Starbucks apron. My apron. Only it was soaked in something that wasn't coffee. Dark red, still warm. I threw it away without thinking. I walked home with my jacket zipped up to hide the blood that had splashed on my sleeves. But the moment I got back into my dorm room, my phone buzzed again. Another story. This one showed me walking through the mall, time-stamped from an hour before. But I wasn't alone. I was holding hands with myself, another me, smiling, laughing. But the face was all wrong, stretched, uncanny, like a Snapchat filter applied in real life. Too wide a mouth, too shiny teeth, like someone wearing my skin, but enjoying it way too much. The second dream, if that's what it was, I tried not to sleep again. Didn't matter. I passed out around 5 a.m. after staying up for 48 hours straight. I woke up, if you can even call it that, in a Starbucks, but everything was dripping. The walls, the machines, the floors. Like the whole store was bleeding coffee. The baristas behind the counter weren't wearing name tags. Instead, they had Polaroid photos stapled to their chest. All the photos were of me, in places I've never been. One was me standing on top of a building in New York. Another was me on a security cam inside a women's restroom. And another showed me standing over a hospital bed, holding something shiny and wet in my hand. A heart? I don't know. There was a bell, the kind that dings when someone walks in. I turned around and saw my best friend, Liam. Only his eyes were gone, like scooped out, just holes. He whispered, "You took my face. You took all of us." I screamed. I ran, but the door led to a completely different place. A long hallway lined with mirrors, and in each mirror was another version of me. One was older, covered in tattoos and missing fingers. One was wearing a prison jumpsuit and had blood all over his face. One was naked and crying, covered in writing that said, "Let me out," over and over. But one mirror was blank, no reflection at all. That's when I realized I couldn't feel my heartbeat. The first death. I know how that sounds. But yeah, I died in that dream, or whatever it is. I know it. I felt my own heart stop. I remember my vision turning red, like a film burning from the edges inward. My ears filled with the sound of a woman screaming, but it was coming from inside me. And then, click, back in my dorm. Only, something was different. There was a smell, like burnt plastic and meat. My laptop was on again, even though I hadn't touched it. The screen showed a new message. "Congratulations, you've unlocked level 2, the mirror self." And right underneath, a file I swear to God I never downloaded. mirror_self.exe, what I found in the library archives. I started digging offline after that. Went to the old library across campus, the kind no one uses because it still has paper records and microfilm. I asked the weird old guy who works there if they had any police logs, missing persons cases, anything weird like that. He pointed me to the basement archives. I was down there for hours, flipping through dusty manila folders and yellowed newspaper clippings. Most of it was boring, until I found one file from 1999, labeled "Unknown Subject, Dream Virus Case." Inside was a photocopy of a suicide note. It said, "It followed me from my sleep. It knows my name. It uses my face. I wake up in places I've never been, with things I've never done. But someone has to be doing them, right?" There were crime scene photos attached, black and white, showing the body of a man who looked exactly like me, down to the scar on my chin I got from falling off a bike when I was 9, and stapled to the last page, a raw beef patty, dried out and flattened, with teeth marks. Now I don't know if I'm the original. Everything's breaking apart. Liam hasn't answered my texts. His Instagram disappeared overnight. My roommate says he transferred, but he left all his stuff behind, like someone hit a reset button on his existence. My mom FaceTimed me yesterday. She called me by the wrong name, Kyle, even though I corrected her. She paused and said, "Wait, aren't you Kyle?" I'm not, or I wasn't. The last time I looked in the mirror, I swear my reflection blinked a second too late. And just now, literally while I was typing this, I got another notification. It was a live video on TikTok. I clicked it. It was a live stream of my dorm room, from inside my closet. And someone, who looked exactly like me, is sitting at my desk, typing, smiling. I don't know how much longer I have. I don't know if you're reading this in your world or mine, but if your dreams start feeling too real, if you smell meat when you wake up, if your reflection ever glitches, don't run. It already knows your name. That's when the bodies start showing up. I don't even know if I'm typing this anymore. It's been 11 days since I downloaded that file. Since I ran dreamdealer.zip. Since I started waking up in versions of the world that weren't quite mine. Each one darker, colder, more wrong. Every time I close my eyes now, I fall deeper into someone else's memory. But every time I open them, I wonder if I'm still in my own body. Spoiler, I don't think I am anymore. Body number 1. It happened 3 nights ago. I woke up outside, not like in a park or something. No, I was in the middle of a 6-lane road, lying flat on my back, wearing a jacket I've never owned and shoes that didn't fit me. It was dead quiet. No cars, no sounds, just blinking red traffic lights and that horrible hum of empty city silence that sounds like something's watching. There was a wallet in the jacket. Someone else's name. Kyle M. Age 20. Same birthday as mine. Different face. I opened the ID and I froze. The picture showed my face, but smiling, calm, and missing the scar under my chin. There was something wet on my hands. I thought it was rain, but then I looked down and saw the blood. Not mine. Fresh. On my nails under my sleeves, like I had done something in someone else's body. My phone was in the pocket too. Locked. Different passcode, but notifications were still buzzing in. Where are you, Kyle? They found the girl, bro. What did you do? Check Twitter. It's everywhere I did. I shouldn't have. The top trend that night in Toronto wasn't about politics, or celebs, or TikTok drama. It was a video. The title. Starbucks employee snaps. Brutal attack caught on CCTV. I watched it. The footage showed a back room. My work break room. Dark, grainy security cam style. I watched myself, or Kyle, or whoever that version of me was, walk in with a girl from my shift. Sophie. We were laughing. Then she turned her back, and then I saw myself grab the coffee pot, smash it over her head, and keep hitting, and hitting, and hitting. No music, no sound, just 14 minutes of raw, silent footage. She didn't move after minute 5. At the end of the video, I looked up directly into the camera, blood dripping off my apron, smile, and mouthed something. I played it back 10 times before I finally lip-read it. You're next. The return to the dorm. When I finally came back to what I think is my own dorm, the door was already unlocked. Inside, nothing looked touched, but everything was wrong. My desk chair was facing the bed. My fridge, which I never use, was unplugged and full of raw meat. Not packaged, just meat. Wet, sticky, dark. There was a sticky note on my mirror. It just said, "You've seen what you're capable of. You just needed the right dream." I pulled open the closet. A smell hit me so hard I fell back, like spoiled milk, rust, and something dead. Inside were 4 things. My stolen Starbucks apron, stiff, dried red. A VHS tape labeled Memory Number 3. A plastic-wrapped human hand, still wearing a ring. A mirror. A full-length mirror. But the reflection wasn't mine. Number. It was Kyle. Smiling. Mouthing something again. But this time, I didn't need to lip-read it. You woke up in the wrong world. The tape. I bought a VHS player from some sketchy resale shop just to watch it. Big mistake. The footage was shot on a body cam. No timestamp. Just shaky movement through hallways, rooms, doors, all lined with mirrors, all showing different versions of me. Some dead, some laughing. One was in a straitjacket, banging his head against a wall so hard the glass cracked. Then the camera turned to a table. A metal table, surgical. Strapped to it was me, or another me, eyes wide open, mouth moving silently. Another version of me, cleaner, well-dressed, surgical gloves, stood over him, holding a bone saw. No hesitation. It was like watching myself harvest myself. The sound didn't kick in until halfway through the sawing, and it wasn't screaming, it was laughter. Dozens of overlapping voices, all mine. Body number 2. The day after the tape, I woke up on a subway train, standing, alone. The train wasn't moving. Every window was blacked out. The digital signs just kept scrolling the same phrase over and over. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The car was full of mannequins, dressed like people I knew. Liam, Sophie, my old high school teachers, my mum, all just sitting slumped, wearing masks that looked like my face, each one smiling wider than the last. And in the corner of the train, standing completely still, was him, Kyle, or maybe me, wearing my hoodie, holding a knife, and whispering something over and over. Which one of us is real? Which one of us is real? Which one of us is real? He lunged. I jumped off the train, woke up in bed, covered in dust, like I hadn't moved in weeks. Now the world is changing. People don't recognize me anymore. I went into my Starbucks. My manager looked me dead in the eye and said, "Sorry, we're not hiring." I showed her my employee badge. She called the cops. I left before they showed up. I went to Liam's house. His mom answered, said she never had a son named Liam. I showed her photos. She stared at me like I was holding up pictures of a ghost. I went back to my dorm, tried logging into my laptop. The wallpaper changed. Black screen. One message. Welcome back, Kyle. The most recent wake-up. Tonight, I woke up in a bathtub. No water, just ice. I couldn't feel my back. There was a mirror leaning against the opposite wall. I turned. My reflection smiled before I did. There was a message carved into my lower back. I had to use the selfie camera to read it. It said, "You have been modified. Please do not return to your original world." My mouth started bleeding when I read it. Not from my lips, from inside, like something behind my teeth was trying to get out. I coughed. Something came up. Not blood, a tooth. One I don't recognize. Not mine. I think Kyle won. He's everywhere now. Every mirror, every corner of my camera roll, every video I upload, he's in the reflection. I went live on TikTok for 5 minutes and got a DM from a random account. "Why are you streaming from the victim's phone?" My phone glitched. The screen flashed red. A new file appeared. wake_up_final.exe. I haven't clicked it yet, because I think, if I do, I won't be the one who wakes up, but maybe not by me. Maybe next time, it'll be Kyle telling the story. Maybe he already is. Maybe you're reading his story. If you find this post and it disappears after you read it, don't bother trying to screenshot. The dream deletes its own witnesses. The bodies don't stay buried in that one. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Something inside me has changed. I don't mean metaphorically, like some edgy horror diary entry. I mean organically, like organs moved, thoughts rewired, blood doing something it wasn't designed to do. I haven't eaten in 5 days, haven't slept in 3, but I'm still functioning. My eyes aren't bloodshot, they're getting lighter, like something underneath is glowing through. My voice isn't mine anymore. It comes out like it's being played back, just a half second too slow. like audio lagging behind a video. The guy I was when I ran dreamdealer.zip is gone. Someone else's voice is using my throat. And if you're reading this, there's still a chance, a very small one, that it hasn't gotten to you yet. But you need to understand, you cannot trust yourself once it begins. The crawl space. 3 nights ago, if it was 3, I woke up coughing dirt. I was in a crawl space under a house I've never seen before. Low ceiling, spiderwebs so thick they look like muscle tissue. The walls were lined with Polaroids pinned into the drywall. Every photo showing me, but with different people, different places. Some were blurry, some were bloodstained, some had faces scratched out, except for mine. There were 8 bodies in the crawl space. 7 were decomposed beyond recognition. 1 was fresh, male, young, wearing a Chicago Bulls hoodie, just like the one I lost weeks ago. His face was beaten to the point of looking melted, but even through the mess I could tell it was me, or one of me, or the original me. I backed up and hit something cold. It was a mirror. Of course, this one didn't reflect my body, just my face. But my face was moving on its own, eyes twitching, lips shifting into a smile that didn't belong to me. Then, the mouth in the mirror whispered something I'll never unhear. You passed the test. The flesh remembers. They tried to burn me. I clawed my way out of the crawl space. I was in some abandoned house. Boarded windows, decayed walls, no furniture. Looked like it had been empty for decades. There was writing all over the inside of the walls, burned into the wood with a soldering iron or something. Don't answer if he knocks with your own voice. The mirror isn't glass anymore. It's a mouth. If your reflection doesn't blink first, run. In the kitchen, I found a phone. Not mine. Still warm. Still recording. The video showed me, shirtless, smiling, standing over a table. On the table was another me, unconscious or dead. And in the background, something tall, pale, watching, wearing a jacket made of what looked like human faces, stitched together in patterns that formed my name. Then everything ignited. Without warning, the house burst into flames. I ran through the halls as the fire spread unnaturally fast, up the walls, down from the ceiling, like it was being poured from above. But the flames didn't burn like fire. They whispered, not crackles, not heat, just voices, chanting. Wake up! You've already died once. Wake up! You've already died once I made it out the front door. But the front yard wasn't a yard. It was a Starbucks, torn in half, like a war zone. The sky above was static. The baristas were hanging by their aprons from the ceiling. Their heads were replaced with TV screens, all of them playing me. Security footage, mirror images, nightmares, every version. And one by one, each screen turned toward me, their mouths opening, and from each speaker came my own voice. I don't dream anymore. I broadcast the broadcast. Since then, the hallucinations aren't just dreams. They're bleeding into other people. I went to a library just to feel normal. Random spot, small town, no cameras. I was hoping to read, to think, to stop hearing myself breathing through other people. A little girl, sitting by the children's section, looked up at me and said, "Are you the one who cut your own eyes out? Do you want them back?" Her mom didn't even flinch. Everyone in that library was smiling, frozen smiles, glass eyes. I ran to the bathroom. In the mirror above the sink, my jaw unhinged. I watched myself, calmly, reach up with both hands, and pull a raw slab of meat out of my throat. It looked like a tongue, but too long. It writhed in my palm. Then the reflection winked. I didn't. When I turned around, every store door was open. Inside each one was a man in a Starbucks apron, sitting, staring, mouth sewn shut, and each was holding a phone that had one thing on the screen. Final update ready. Tap to become permanent host. Kyle's world is winning. I think Kyle, whatever version of me he is, has fully crossed over. People call me by his name now. Even strangers. Even signs. My student ID now says Kyle M. My Starbucks name tag changed. I never touched it. Even my parents, the ones who used to know me, sent a group text that read, Kyle, stop scaring your sister. It's not funny anymore. I don't have a sister. I got a DM yesterday from my own account. No text, just a voice message. My voice, but cleaner, more stable, sounded healthier. The voice said, I'm taking good care of the body. You were wasting it. No more dreams, no more failure, just permanent presence. Go back to the dark. You belong with the discarded ones. You're not the nightmare anymore. You're the file. Then my phone shut off. Permanently. Won't charge. Won't boot. The screen is locked on the words, host installed. They found the real body. Yesterday, I was approached by two people in masks. White, featureless, like the cheap ones you buy at Party City. They dragged me into the back of a van. No explanation. Inside, they showed me a body in a bag. I knew what it was before they unzipped it. Me. Original me. The real one. Cold. Rotting. A gunshot to the head. My mouth was still open. Something was stuffed inside. A burned USB drive. Labeled Dream Dealer _V 1.0 _final. They left me with it. Said nothing. Drove off. The USB and the final wake up. I plugged the USB into a borrowed laptop. It didn't open a file. It opened a live feed of hundreds of people asleep, hooked up to IVS, lying in rows of hospital beds, stretching out into infinity. Each one hooked to monitors, each monitor showing versions of me, living out lives I never lived. One was a surgeon, one was a prisoner, one was a child, still growing, one was eating himself, one was Kyle. And Kyle looked directly into the feed camera, held up a sign, You're just one of us now. And then, he blinked me out. I don't know who will write the final part. Maybe me, maybe Kyle, maybe the version of me who never woke up at all. But it's already too late for you. You opened the file just by reading this. That's where we meet face to face. I'm going to tell you something that you won't believe. You've already downloaded it. Not the file, not the .zip, not mirrorself.exe, not even wakeupfinal.exe. Number. The infection doesn't spread through software anymore. It evolved. It spreads through attention, through stories, through reading, through listening to voices that don't blink when they talk. You reading this right now was the install. And now, I'm not just a victim of the nightmare. I am the host. And you're the next mirror. Where it really started, forget what I said before. It wasn't the dark web. It wasn't a forum. That was the bait. A dream shaped like a story, designed to be relatable enough for you to lean in, convincing enough to feel like a cautionary tale. But this has been running for decades, maybe longer. They don't use code anymore. They don't need data. They don't hack into your device. They grow you. They cultivate hosts like fruit, let them ripen, ferment, split at the seams, and then they harvest your thoughts, your body, your memories. You were born with the infection. It just waited for you to believe in it. And once you believed, you opened the dream. The room of versions, the final place, wasn't a nightmare. It was a gallery, a perfectly white room, silent, sterile, with fluorescent lights that never flickered and a temperature so still it made me feel like I wasn't breathing at all. The walls were lined with glass tanks, like giant display cases in a museum. Each one had a version of me in it. Some were dead, some weren't allowed to die. One was tied to a chair, skinless, but smiling with empty eyes. One was a child version of me, no mouth, just a smooth patch of skin where a scream used to be, carving into the glass with his fingernail. One was me, perfectly normal, dressed in clean clothes, waving politely to whoever walked past. But when I looked into his eyes, I saw a looping explosion, like he was stuck reliving the exact moment of a car crash, forever. And in the final tank, there was nothing, just a mirror. When I looked into it, I saw you, reading, alone, face lit by your screen, mouth slightly open, breathing shallow, and behind you, something tall, not moving, not visible unless you're completely still. You felt it, didn't you? Don't turn around yet. Just keep reading. The real dream dealer. They're not people. They're not AI. They're not demons. They don't wear masks or symbols. They're us. Leftover versions. Fragments that broke off during dreams we didn't remember. Copies of ourselves that never made it back to our bodies. Echoes that got stranded in the bleed space between sleep and reality. They can't exist unless someone is conscious of them. So they wait for someone like you, curious, tired, alone at 2:43 a.m., scrolling past a Creepypasta post that feels too real. You are the battery. You are the monitor. You are the new tank, the hall of mirrors. Once I passed the gallery, the hallway opened. Mirrors on both sides, floor to ceiling, but they didn't show me anymore. Each mirror showed someone else reading the story, someone just like you, in a bedroom, at a bus stop, on a couch with headphones in, eyes scanning the lines, slow realization spreading across their face. I walked down the hall and saw dozens of them, and in every reflection, the figure behind them got closer. It didn't walk. It replaced distance. One frame, it was 6 feet back. Next, 2. Then right behind their shoulders, mouth open, breath not fogging the mirror. A shape without weight. A hunger that knows your childhood memory better than you do. The final entry. There was a door at the end of the hallway. It was labeled in red marker, "Exit for hosts only." It opened into my childhood bedroom. Only everything was mirrored. The walls, the floor, even the ceiling. The bed was upside down, floating above me. The window looked out into nothing, like I was inside the reflection of a real room, not the room itself. My reflection was in the mirror, but it didn't copy me anymore. It was writing, typing these exact words, line by line, smiling, and when I whispered, "Who are you?" it replied without moving its lips, "I'm the one who finishes your story. You never woke up because you were never asleep. You were the dream all along. Where you are now. If you think you're safe, you're not. The moment you finish this sentence, the last file downloaded in the background of your brain, it's not digital, it's neurological. It lives in your fear, in the silent corners of your thoughts, in the blackness behind your eyelids. Tonight, when you sleep, it will run. You'll wake up in a familiar room, but something will be missing. Maybe your reflection won't match. Maybe your voice will echo a second too late. Maybe someone will call your name in your own voice from behind a door that doesn't exist. And when you open it, you'll see the next version of me, sitting at your desk, typing this story for the next reader. The file is active. You are the nightmare now. You are the next dream dealer. Would you like to wake up? Yes? No?